Good Sunday morning. It is June the 4th, 2017. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. Overnight last night, on Saturday night, we did have a couple of showers and a couple storms that did move through the Purchase area of western Kentucky. And besides that, we do have a couple more showers and thunderstorms coming out of the Mississippi area and moving northward towards our neck of the woods. They should be arriving and producing a boundary that will be the center for new shower and thunderstorm development this afternoon. And so I expect this to weaken, and then I expect more thunderstorm development to happen this afternoon, and that will be in the form of scattered thunderstorms, a very scattered-like nature. And so they're going to be hit and miss, but I do think by the end of the day, just about everybody is going to pick up at least something, if not a couple inches of rain, depending on if we have some training, and that would be where the storms continuously move over the same areas. So we had that back on Thursday of this week in Mayfield. They picked up around 3.5 to 5 inches of radar estimated rainfall. A couple of those reports did have some hail in there as well, but when that hail melts, it's still going to contribute to it just as normal rainfall would. So I look at it about the same, whether it was hail contaminated or not, and it produced flash flooding in northern parts of Mayfield. There was reports of water flowing over the road of Highway 45 north and southbound lane. People described it looking as a waterfall coming out of the cornfields nearby and flowing out onto the roadway. So it was a pretty scary situation. People said there was 2 feet of water flowing over the Highway 45 up to their floorboard, and it was very muddy water. So I'm sure that the farmers over there in that region are pretty upset, but that's just how these summertime thunderstorms work. Some people get nothing. Some people get absolutely torrential rainfall. Let's go ahead and look at this week's weekly weather update. So we're looking at basically what this upcoming week has in store for us on the weather side of things. And we do have those scattered showers and thunderstorms really staying with us through about Monday morning, if not early Monday afternoon. But besides that, we're looking at those shower and thunderstorms to be moving out of the area, and a very dry pattern is setting up for the next week or so, if not beyond that. It looks like a ridge of high pressure, not a very strong one, but a ridge of high pressure will be moving in. And this one is going to be keeping us and putting a lid of thunderstorms forming. So this is going to be keeping thunderstorms from forming on top of us. So this is going to help with that flash flood threat that we've been dealing with this past week. So another week for those farmers to really get out and get their job done, because we're going to have very warm temperatures towards the end of the week by next weekend. And so it's not only going to be dry, but hot at times as well. By the time we get to this time next week, and still that dry weather is sticking around with us, so it looks like this dry pattern is going to continue throughout this week, and we'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully we're not developing a drought, but I don't think we're going to be looking at that kind of serious matter. I think we're just looking at what we call a flash drought, where it's a very quick amount of time, or a very short amount of time, where we just have very dry weather. So that might be all we're dealing with. We'll wait and see how it turns out. Once we let's go ahead and look at the 500 millibar height, and notice how we do have a trough moving into our area around the middle of the week. This would be associated with that upper level low that we're dealing with right now, that is causing basically those showers and thunderstorms to develop and move over top of us, and that is causing some lift in the atmosphere. And so this upper level low is going to basically stay stationary for most of the week, but it's going to be northeast of us. But meanwhile, we're going to be situated under that. A ridge will start to build in by the end of the week right here, and that is what is going to cause that hot and dry weather. So that is what we are expecting. With that trough staying just to our northeast, it's going to keep the majority of the showers and thunderstorms situated to our northeast. The only time we really have to deal with the rain chances is today and on early Monday morning. And then that ridge builds in by the end of the week, and that's when we're looking at some pretty hot temperatures and dry weather to be settling in. And it's the famous eastern ridge and western trough. So while the west is dealing with cooler and wetter weather, we're dealing with drier and hotter weather. So that's how the pattern works. If the trough was over here, they would be getting the hot and dry weather, and if the trough was here, we would be getting that colder and wetter weather. So it works the same. It works the same way whether you put the trough in the west or in the east. That's just how the pattern works when you have the trough in the west and the ridge in the east. So with that trough being here and just to our northeast for just a little bit this week, that is going to mean that we're going to be looking at some cooler than average temperatures. Let me get back to where the trough was. Some cooler than average temperatures for our mornings. So our mornings are going to be a little bit cooler than average, but our afternoons are going to be probably Tuesday will be our only afternoon that we're really below average, maybe Wednesday as well. But a lot of that colder than average temperatures are going to stay off to our northeast under the very center of that trough right there around the Cleveland, Ohio area. And so with that trough, like I said, staying off to our northeast, it's going to keep the majority of the showers and thunderstorms off to our northeast and the majority of the cooler weather off to our northeast. So typically with this trough being centered over Cleveland, the further northeast you get towards that direction, the colder the temperatures are going to get under that cold pull aloft that you have situated in the atmosphere. So let's look at those temperatures this week. I did want to show you the lows for the mornings as well, but I will do that after I get through the highs. So with rain and clouds going to be in the area on Monday morning, depending on the time that they move out, will depend on your temperatures. Parts of the Purchase region in Callaway County, it's showing upper 70s. But if you move into Ballard County, where they are further from the rain at that time of the day, then you're looking at mid-80s. So it can work either way, just depending on where those showers and thunderstorms are situated during the heat of the day. And like I said, by Tuesday and Wednesday are the days that I'm concerned about the temperatures being just a little bit below average, possibly just upper 70s to low 80s, struggling to get out of the 70s. And then as we get into the end of the week, that's when that ridge begins to build in, and you can tell it does. The map is verifying that it does with these temperatures in the low to mid 90s. So summer finally kicking in if you have been waiting for those kind of temperatures. I want to walk through the minimums for the day. These would be your low temperatures. So as we go into Tuesday morning, we're looking at upper 50s to low 60s, and that's not what is below average. But once we get into the low to mid 50s, that's a little bit below average. So this would be for Wednesday and Thursday morning. Those are going to be our two coldest mornings, I believe, for this week. And the rainfall for the next week, because this week is going to shape up mostly drier than normal, this would really just be for today and tomorrow, because these are our only rain chances this week, showing really about a ½ inch to an inch of rain. Some of you could pick up more than an inch depending on where we have training. Some of you could get nothing. Just depends on where these summertime thunderstorms set up. Very slow to move, so make sure that you are aware to get to higher ground if need be. Have a great week.